polskie. Miasta są polskie.
Aha.
Tak. Miasta są polskie, miasta są polskie. Mamy swoje branie. To dobrze, że mamy tego ubota i zobaczcie. I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about the Halifax explosion now. All the way back on December 5th of 1917, there was a French ammunition ship called the Mont Blanc trying to make its way into the harbor. Now back during the First World War, we would put anti-submarine nets up across the mouth of the harbor overnight, making sure no unwanted visitors could enter. And the Mont Blanc was running a little late that day. They arrived just after those nets had been put up, meaning they had to stay the night outside of the harbor. Now they were flying a red Bravo flag that signified they had dangerous cargo on board, and they didn't want that to be a target on their back overnight, so they decided to take the flag down. Now at the same time, all the way behind me in the Bedford Basin, there was a Norwegian ship called the Emo, and they were a couple days late leaving the city of Halifax because they had no coal. Now on the morning of December 6th, they got a brand new shipment of coal, and they were in a rush to leave the city. They were moving way faster than they should have through the water in the harbor, and as they approached that bridge all the way behind me, they tried to overtake a slower moving ship. Now underneath that bridge is called the Narrows. It's the narrowest point of the harbor. It's very dangerous for two ships to try and pass each other in that area. And as the Mont Blanc, or as the Emo moved into the opposite lane to try and pass this slower moving ship, it put itself on course for a head-on collision with the Mont Blanc. Now both ships signaled for the other one to move out of the way, but unfortunately the Mont Blanc had forgot to put that red flag back up that they took down the night before, so neither ship wanted to move. Now eventually the two ships collided, and all the metal rubbing together during this collision created some sparks and started a fire on board the Mont Blanc. Now the crew instantly knew what was going to happen. They all abandoned ship and swam over to Dartmouth, where they tried to warn people, but unfortunately they only spoke French. They couldn't communicate with anyone over there in Dartmouth. In the meantime, many people left their homes and left their jobs to gather along the Halifax boardwalk to watch these two ships burn. The Mont Blanc burned for about 20 minutes before it finally exploded. Now this was the largest man-made explosion in history up to this point. It continued to be the largest until the first atomic bomb was dropped. The blast was so powerful it could be heard all the way over on Prince Edward Island and Cape Breton Island. To make matters even worse, that night we got hit with a terrible winter storm here in Halifax. Many people were left without a safe place to stay and with newly sustained injuries, And that's when the city of Boston, Massachusetts stepped in to help out. They were able to send trainfuls of building supplies over to the city of Halifax. Many people would take the windows out of their own homes and load them on trains to help replace all of the blown out windows here in the city. The entire graduating class of Harbour Medical School even made the trip to Halifax to treat people and their new injuries. We were very thankful for the people of Boston here in Halifax and everything they did to help us recover during the aftermath of the explosion, and we needed to think of a way to repay them. Now, as some of you guys know, Nova Scotia is the Christmas tree capital of Canada, so we decided every year we would pick out our biggest and brightest Christmas tree and send it down to Boston to be used in their tree lighting ceremony. Now, this tradition started all the way back in 1918, and it continues to happen to this day. It's a huge deal here in Nova Scotia. Whichever family gets picked to have their tree sent down to Boston always holds a big celebration and ceremony on their farm. If you guys are ever hanging out in Boston around the holidays and you see a beautifully lit up tree in the Boston Commons, just know that it made its way all the way there from Nova Scotia. Here in Halifax, we still are very thankful for all the people of Boston and everything they did to help us recover during the aftermath of the explosion. Now we're going to be exiting the water pretty shortly. I'm going to remind you guys, it won't be as wet as when we entered, but it will be just as bumpy, so make sure you're holding on. Especially if you're sitting on the upper deck, there's going to be a bit of an extra bump as we pull those back tires back onto the road, so make sure you're ready for that. I'm going to hop off the mic now so Captain Rachel can talk to Halifax traffic, but I'll be right back with you guys as soon as we're on dry land. Thank you.